East Meon, which is in the Meon Valley. This is my mate Phil, right? You're my mate Phil, aren't you?
I just found out that I can't drop a soap in the shower in front of him.
Look at your gloves.
I'll speak
Look.
to you later.
He's really cramping our
gloves.
style, that man.
Okay, let's do it. This is the
river.
East Meon River, isn't it?
We were telling a few people about, they take, you can tell them all sorts of rubbish sometimes. I'm talking about the Neon Valley.
The Meon Valley.
Yeah.
For the megaliths, they're mysteries. Nobody knows any shit about them. They make theories,
Yeah.
but the theories are just...
Well, we ought to go up there together,
Yeah.
because you've got a lot of good ideas about those places. So the tree dies and a new one grows up through the middle. So it's an eternal tree.
Lasts forever.
I think that's a yew, isn't it, that does that?
Yeah, exactly.
Am I right?
Yeah. And if you go to the tree now, you can look at its branches, and they're pretty unique for the tree. Suddenly, I don't know so much on this one. You can see up by there, that branch falls down now, right?
Yeah.
Breaks off,
Yeah.
and there's one growing straight up. That'll
Okay.
become a tree.
That'll be a new tree.
So it's
It's
forever.
so it's not a Christian symbol, is it? This would have been a pagan symbol.
Pagan,
That's why they
yeah.
put them up. And
Yeah.
yet they put the cross on it there, haven't they?
Yeah.
Like it's a rebirth symbol. Sacred ground, please keep dogs on loose. They built the churches on the sacred sites. They built them on the springs.
Yeah.
Like that's why Winchester Cathedral
Aye.
has water underneath it. That's because it was the sacred springs. Same as Bath. They
Yeah.
built the they
Yeah.
built it on the old temple of
Yeah. I
the
heard,
Roman
I
goddess.
heard, Craig, that the Christian church is on top of all pagan churches.
Yeah, you
And
don't
the
want-
old pagan churches would have been there like...
Yeah, you
who
don't
knows
want to
how
go to
long.
the competition, do you?
Yeah. What do you think? What do you think about ley lines, you guys out there? If you've got any idea about ley lines, leave them in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe. Craig Hamilton Parker.
Good for the algorithm.
He's a bit of a psychic
Twit.
twat, but he's okay. He's really a down-to-earth fellow. Don't take any notice of him on there being like he is.
It's all unreal.
And then what's happening is the people who go to spiritual churches,
Spiritual
they're there because they're still attached, they're loved ones, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, I see what you mean, yeah. Spiritualism is the ultimate materialist philosophy, isn't it?
Yeah, holding on.
Because it's a continuation of what we've already got.
Yeah.
And that's what I always try to talk about in Spiritualist Church.
Well, here's a
So
question
it's
for
about
Craig.
letting go.
Here's a question for Craig Hamilton Parker, which I know a lot of people out there question, because I watch his videos sometimes, and I think like it's a bit, you know.
And I watch yours too in
Alright.
the comments below.
Yeah. And the question is, here's the one they all want to know, one answer from you, right? How do people reincarnate? Because you're spiritual, you believe the philosophy of reincarnation. Well, how? It's a trick question, this.
Okay.
I know the answer.
Uh-huh.
How do they reincarnate and you can still speak to them?
They spend time, first of all, in the spirit world. You wait in the spirit world and then you incarnate in this world. So you don't reincarnate instantly. I think the people that reincarnate instantly are those that have had some form of trauma. Like there's something unresolved and they're grasping onto this world, so they're reborn quick. But all of us will spend time in the spirit world and then we'll reincarnate again, usually with a group soul. Like, I think we've
Yeah.
been a group soul in the past,
Yeah,
and
for sure.
we've had similar memories of past lives together,
Yeah.
for example,
Yeah.
which, you know, kind of proven in a way.
When you do psychometry, right, you pick up on spirit, do you?
Yes and no, I think, because when you do psychometry, you're picking up the vibrations of an object you're holding.
What's the difference between doing a reading psychometry-wise, yeah, and then getting in touch with spirit?
That is not psychometry.
But you hold an object, right, and you read a life. You pick up a person, right, when you're reading somebody. Information is more or less, I can't tell the difference. If I didn't know it was psychometry, right, if I didn't know he was holding a ring in your hand, I wouldn't know if he was speaking to a person,
That's
picking
right,
it up from
and
person.
that's where you've got to be. It's important. Spiritualism, they say that you do the psychometry and then you put it down before you make a spirit link. Otherwise, it could be, like you say, confusing, because you could be picking up all sorts of information just from your psychic gift of what you're holding. And I think the way you prove that it's not just picking up vibration or picking up the energy from the person's aura and things like that, the way you get round that is by giving them something that they couldn't possibly know.
Yeah.
And the one example I quite often put up, because Dawkins came up with this, and you were preparing me for the Dawkins battle, and I said, well, because how would I know? Like I told one woman, this is a case I cite, that when you go home, there's green paint all over your garage.
Yeah.
Now, there's no way she could have known it, but when she went home, a tin of green paint had fallen inside the garage.
Yeah.
Green paint everywhere. She rang me up in panic about that, and I said, well, that's because it's not in her mind.
Yeah.
So she couldn't. I
Pick it
couldn't
up
be
from a
reading her
third
mind.
force. Yeah, and I can vouch for this. When I first met this twat, he was up there standing about stuff, talking, standing on the rostrum. Like, I'd gone to see lots of, because I just lost my late wife to cancer. He had everything right, you know. I thought, yeah, fair enough. Like, you know, how do I know he's not reading my mind? Because I knew that happened. I'd had experience of it. Then when I went to see him, he told me everything, like Italian food. She was blonde, she was small, she was this, she was that. He said two things that was wrong, and I was quite surprised, like, because he was getting everything right. And one was my oldest daughter was a bottle blonde. She was blonde, but she wasn't a bottle blonde. She was a natural blonde. And two, that my other daughter, Crystal Lou, was having trouble at school. I knew that was wrong because I'd only asked her the night before, which was crazy because he just brought it up. And she said, no, Dad, I'm not having any problem at school at all. So I goes home. I had this thing in my head, like psychic reading my mind. How do I know if it's really her he's getting in touch with it, or if it's not me? I explained the reading I had off Craig, and I said, but he had two things wrong, which was really good compared to some of the others. And I said, one, Claire is bottle blonde, and two, Crystal was having trouble at school. I know that's wrong because I only asked Crystal last night. They said, no. Claire had just bleached her hair a bit more blonde, highlighted the blonde, which so you was correct on that, which I didn't know about, so it wasn't from my mind. And that Crystal had trouble at school. Crystal stood up and said, well, actually, Dad, I didn't want to tell you about it, but yet I'm having trouble because of, you know, losing her mum. So I didn't know that, and so it was, in a way, it was proof.
It's what you get wrong, isn't it? That proves what
Yeah,
is right.
yeah.
In a way.
Yeah.
I often used to panic when I got things wrong.
Yeah.
And I think, well, actually, don't panic about getting things wrong. Just let it go, and you'll find later on it comes back, and you
It's true, yeah.
like
yeah.
that. That way.
Yeah.
All right. Or that way.
Well, we could, that's going downhill. Yeah, let's go uphill a bit more. Are you okay?
Yeah, like that advanced clairvoyance business you suggested. I did it on YouTube.
What is-
Right? I thought it was
before we
brilliant
go
to do
further
it.
with that, right, will you explain to him what advanced clairvoyance is?
Well, the idea
Really
is you
interesting,
do
yes.
the clairvoyance in advance. So when you used to come to the circle,
Yeah.
I like to say, Phil, write something down before you come, didn't I?
Yeah, that's right.
And you write something down,
Yeah.
and then you read it out,
Yeah.
and someone in the circle will go, oh, how did you know that?
Yeah.
That's how we work to get the clairvoyance started.
Yeah.
I started doing it on YouTube. I
Yeah.
started saying, okay, I'm going to do some readings in advance, and I just pick up what I can. I've got a lady here, her name was Edith. She had her teeth out. I see bottom teeth out. I'm getting it now, actually. And she was blind in one eye, all right?
Yeah.
Now, okay, someone out there will know who Edith is now, who was blind in one eye and had all her bottom teeth out at the end of her life.
Okay, if there's anybody out there who knows an Edith with her bottom teeth out, put it in the comments.
Put it in the comments, and that's what I did, and I started doing that, and every single message was taken. Wow. Every single message, and not just take, and it was, I deliberately would ask the spirit to give us the weirdest things you could possibly give me.
Yeah.
So it just can't fit to everybody's granddad. And that's what we did in
Aye.
the circle, and you were good at it.
This reminds me of something. Right, there was a lady, that we went up in Cwmbran in Wales, and this was just after we'd lost 3 members of our family, and so like the Welsh part of the family was interested in what I was doing with Craig, and so we goes into this spiritual club, right, And this medium, she was like an advanced clairvoyant reader, so she had it all written down before she went to the spiritual club. She had it all written down, all the messages that she was going to give that night, so she didn't need to do that reading like live. She'd already done it before she got there. And so we walks in there now, like, you know, and I normally go and sit in the front in certain situations, but what I did this time, I thought, no, I'm not going to listen to that thought, I'm going to go to the back, right? So anyway, we sit down, get comfortable. We're at the back where I should have been at the front. Clairvoyant, she's like reading the person on the third chair from the right, and blah blah blah, and she's done a few more readings, and then she goes to the front, the chair I would have been sitting on, and she goes, I have a message for you, but the message was directly for me. And do you know what that told me? Something actually about free will, that we do have free will, but also it told me that we, in respect, is already plotted out. We're in a certain way, right?
Yeah, so it was like destined that you come to that seat.
I was destined to go
But
to
your
that
free will took you to a different seat, and the message was for that and the other seat.
Go
Isn't that
on it,
fascinating?
Craig.
Are we going to go through all this mud?
Yeah, so that's an interesting subject.
It
isn't
is. Actually, I think the stuff we did in the circle was really pretty advanced in its time, wasn't it? Because we were...
Yeah.
Nobody's teaching this stuff anymore. Yeah. That's the problem. There's
And what-
nobody teaching it. I mean, where would you learn about advanced clairvoyance? Where would you learn about doing psychometry?
Psychometry, yeah.
And spiritualism. Have you been to a spiritualist church ever recently?
Not.
We
Not-
went to
have you?
one that we used to go to all the time. I won't name it.
When did you go
Absolutely
recently?
empty.
Oh,
There's not a soul in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks like the track there.
It's
Hardly a
dying.
soul. And it's dying
Yeah.
because they're also concerned about who's in charge and
Yeah.
committees and 50 pence in the... You know, say, Jane says to them, did we go to do a day myself? Have you advertised this tonight? Oh yeah. We put a postcard up in the local newsagent.
Yeah, oh, that's terrible, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
So
to
one
get-
old woman
so you go
saw
to a
it and she was
spiritualist
sat there in the
church and you
front row.
talk, yeah,
Aye.
you talk to 30 people.
Yeah.
I put a YouTube up yesterday,
What did you do a demo
and it gets
there, Craig?
50,000 hits in an hour.
Yeah. This guy is so motivated, yeah, and his brain, right, it's like I haven't met anybody with a brain like this fella here, and he's always thinking of new ideas all the time. His brain's like this. Bang,
Well, we're all
bang,
like
bang,
that,
bang,
Phil,
bang,
aren't we?
bang.
I mean,
Huh?
that's why we're mates, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
we're both crazy like that.
Yeah, and
we both got a cog loose somewhere. I
but,
think.
yeah, he's what do you call it? He's a British.
Twit.
No. Like a valuable.
Treasure.
Treasure.
He's a British
Yes,
treasure.
I'll
isn't he?
Yes.
He really is. Yeah. Not so much as treasure as me.
Almost.
He's almost as good as me. But yeah, he's a national treasure.
Well,
That's the word.
We
national
compete on the
treasure.
modesty, don't we?
Yeah.
Listen to an Indian guy talking today, said modesty is poison. I thought, well, that's quite an interesting idea.
That is what we always say. Yeah.
It's about modesty, yeah, right? What is modesty? It's a person who recognises being vain,
Yeah.
and he doesn't want to appear vain.
Yeah, there's a danger
So that
in
means,
it, isn't there?
that means he has to be modest, yeah. And what is
Yeah.
modest?
Pretend to be modest.
Yeah. Well,
It's a fight with the ego again, isn't it, really?
yeah, it means that because you want to appear modest, which is fake as hell, that you've got to be modest. So it means you can't say it the way it is.
Yeah, that's right.
Like if
Just got to be what you are, isn't it?
Yeah,
That's right.
if I'm a
Be what-
champion-
be an idiot if you're an idiot, and just be it.
if I'm a champion at what I do, I'm not supposed to say that because it's not modest. So you're fake as hell if you're modest.
And everybody's concerned now about what they look like, aren't they? And what
Yeah,
people
yeah,
think
yeah.
of them, particularly with social media.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't it nice up here, isn't it?
Nice here. Yeah, check that out by here.
We get so carried away.
Oh,
chatting.
look, Greg, look.
Yeah. Never go walking with a Welshman. Never go walking. There's a leisure centre.
Who
Phil.
has
There's a
Welsh
leisure
DNA? Who has Welsh DNA?
centre. I've got Welsh DNA. I've been
You
in
got
it
Welsh
carefully.
DNA?
More than you.
Yeah.
Welsh than you have.
DNA, yeah.
Yeah.
And he used to hammer me on that one. sometimes,
Jane's
like.
got Romanian DNA in her, and she doesn't want anyone to know about it. No, not a soul. So we're never going to mention that on camera.
I'm not saying nothing, Jane.
We already knew. We already knew, Jane. Love you. Mwah.
Something secret, tell Craig.
Or you
Actually, that is one thing I'm hopeless at secret.
and Phil.
You know, if you go to India and they say this is the secret knowledge, I said, don't tell me. Don't tell me. This Nadi's a secret. Don't tell me.
Is your shoelace undone? Or?
What's the yoga move? What's the yoga? See the glutes stretch? We're even giving you yoga in this.
Richard Hittelman, Yoga for Health, or Yoga for Kicks, I used to call it.
I don't know, right?
Yeah, he was one of the first to start doing it. All real humble, you know.
Yeah.
Nowadays, bloody hell, yoga's all about expanding the ego.
Yeah. I've been watching a lot of
Crackpot stuff out there, absolute crackpot stuff.
I've been watching a lot of yoga on YouTube, right? And something I learned about it is about camel toes.
I've heard of the camel pose, but the camel toes, I think it's another one.
It's a new
It's
one.
called on YouTube.
I do watch the weird stuff on this.
It's a new fad on YouTube, and it's called camel toe yoga.
I'll leave that to everyone's imagination. You'll have to send me the channel link.
There's loads of them, mate. That's why I said
Is it a
Yeah,
fad?
it's a fad. With it, they stick these type things on, yeah, and they want you to look at their panamis.
Well, there we go. This is what yoga's turned into, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
Really, I mean,
There's so many of them. That's what it is. So they need to stand out.
everybody's wanting recognition, aren't they?
Yeah.
But I understand. I mean,
Yeah. Well,
you
good
can't
luck
run a
to 'em,
YouTube
innit?
channel and not want
Yeah.
recognition. You're in trouble
Yeah.
then, aren't you? But
It's not really spiritual yoga, is it? What is it?
yoga's become about exercise. It's not become about the goal of yoga, which is the ending of the ego, not the flourishing of it, really.
Yeah.
Well, it's about teaching you how to live.
Yeah.
And it's nams and the yams,
Yeah.
which is all the moral code.
Nams and yams. What's
Nams
that
and
in
yams,
there?
yeah,
I don't
moral
know.
codes. It's really
Oh,
important.
right.
First
Okay.
thing Patanjali says, first step in yoga is the moral codes. It's the nams and the yams. So things like, purity is one of them, for example, and acceptance and non-violence, which is the one most people know about because of Gandhi.
Yeah.
But
But in this country, if you say yoga,
everyone
straight away
thinks about
exercise.
stretchy, bendy.
Nobody thinks about meditation or anything
Nobody,
like that. do they?
I mean, the whole objective of the physical yoga was purely so the person could sit.
Sit,
So they
yeah,
could sit
yeah.
in long periods of meditation. It wasn't about
Yeah.
looking good.
Yeah, and another thing,
and mindful movement, because it's by focus on your movement that you increase your mindfulness.
Yeah, absolutely.
and you know what
It's
I've been
about,
coming to
it's,
about
it's about the
yoga?
mind and the soul, not about the bloody body.
Yeah. Well, actually, though,
Not about the body at all.
I-
Actually, yoga's Patanjali, who's the father of yoga, didn't put a single asana in his teachings. If you look at Patanjali's work, the first thing he talks about is samadhi in the first chapter,
samadhi.
which is the goal of yoga.
Yeah.
Awakening, whatever we want to call it. But
Yeah.
he didn't give a single posture.
Yeah, but you think,
Nothing
right?
to do with bloody
But you
physical
think
things.
this, right? Right? You think this, yeah? Here's the point. People learning about Patanjali's system, yeah, yoga system or whatever, yeah. But it's time. They need time, right? And they're sitting there trying to meditate, but their bodies is hurting.
Yeah.
Their joints. Is
Well, that's what
starting to
yoga's
play up.
for, to get you sitting.
So you've got a bunch of guys, right? They're getting old and they're trying to get enlightened. This is my imagination, right? They're sat there and wow, my hip's hurting. Let's do something
Yeah.
and
yeah.
let's stretch it. Oh yeah, you got a problem with it? Yeah, I solved mine 10 years ago. Do this, do that. So it becomes yoga with exercise.
Absolutely. Well, the exercise is there to set the
Yeah.
energy going, the
Yeah.
prana going. 'Cause
And that.
it's also about being able to sit the body still. That's
Yeah.
all it is. The best postures in yoga is the corpse posture,
Yeah.
and the when you're sat in with cross-legged meditation,
Yeah.
to keep the back straight so that the energies can move up the back of the spine, and then to allow the body to open it into the higher realms. Nothing to do with camel toes or beer yoga or
Irish yoga.
Irish yoga. That's a
You
good
see
one.
Irish yoga? That's a
I've seen
good
the
one.
Irish
that is.
yoga ones.
I
I'm
got
a big fan.
Irish yoga,
is brilliant.
and they look as though they've all been drinking and that they've been drunk, right? And they got all these strange postures like this,
Right, yeah. Irish
with a
yoga
bottle like
postures.
this, yeah. And that's Irish yoga.
And they do it with animals,
and,
don't they?
Yeah, but it's
Bloody
really
silly.
it's good for you. from what I hear.
But it's all right having a laugh about it, and I think Patanjali probably had a sense of humour underneath it all. But the thing is, it's just got out of hand. You know. That's still an ego thing, isn't it?
When you look at some of those old yogis, right, they are like skinny as anything. They starve themselves.
Well, that was part of it, wasn't it? The renunciation of the world, not body worship.
I saw this one on YouTube. He's said to be 300 years old, and he's so skinny and fragile looking.
Yeah.
300 though.
I mean, some of those guys I saw in India were pretty amazing people. But they weren't. You wouldn't see all these yogis doing hatha yoga. The only person I saw doing hatha yoga was a Westerner.
Yeah.
When I went all through it, that's only one occasion.
It figures, doesn't it?
And they only do it as a preparation.
Yeah.
These Siddhi yogis, for example, those amazing guys like the one that slept in the fire and things, you know. I mean, he was a pretty amazing sort of guy, really.
Slept in the fire?
He wasn't doing yoga like we would talk about it.
No.
It was on another level.
Was it?
I mean, people haven't even begun to get near what it's all about in India and that. They just, even the Indians don't know what it's about. West always buggers things up, doesn't it,
What
really?
I think it is, is identification. Like the Beatles started off the craze for yoga in the 1960s, which was great.
Yeah.
Right, spiritually great. It meant that people in the West, if they wanted to, they could become spiritually enlightened. But you have the bigger part, they want identification. Oh, I'm a yogi.
Yeah.
Me, man.
That was one of the first
I'm
things.
going to see my guru. My guru
know.
is blah blah blah. My guru's better than
it's
your
all
guru.
about, yeah,
And that's identification. The person that takes up yoga and meditation, right, and does it on the quiet and doesn't have to brag about it and say my guru is so and so, that person is the one who's going to go much further than all the rest, because I'm not identifying with it.
Well,
See?
that was the first thing they did. When I went to the yoga places, they used to say, "Okay, yogis," and I think these aren't bloody yogis. These are people doing yoga. They're not yogis.
Yeah, so that's identification.
Okay, yogis.
Identification, see?
I am a yogi. You do yoga. You're not, and it's the same with all spiritual things, isn't it? You've always got to be something.
Yeah.
And I don't like even the idea of being called a psychic, frankly. But I really detest the idea of being called a psychic. Yeah, because I'm suddenly with all these other bloody twits.
Yeah, it marginalises
you
as well.
And then suddenly it's just about prediction. It's just part of what the psychic gift is. Just part of something else, really, isn't it? It's about developing as a spirit and a person.
Well, like you do predictions, yeah, and it's really interesting. For me, I watch him, and I think, like, even though I'm his friend, I actually do watch him. And I think that it's really an interesting program, YouTube channel, like Donald Trump and all that. His predictions about Donald Trump, you should check that out, man.
But they're hooks, really. They're hooks to get people to talk about higher
so
stuff.
big-headed, it's unbelievable.
Actually, I probably like Donald Trump because he's almost got as big an ego as me.
Donald Trump and Elon Musk. Elon Musk taken into account.
Is it very, very interesting what's going to happen there?
Space travel, right?
Yeah.
And you've got this UFO stuff coming up as well.
They're talking about UFOs. They're
Elon
talking
Musk
about going to Mars. They're talking about artificial intelligence.
Do you know what I'm wondering? Elon Musk, does he know something about what's happening really with this?
And why bring Elon Musk into it at this stage?
Do you know what I think?
Why should he suddenly become so important?
Yeah, and do you know what I think? Climate change is not people causing that, but the sun is getting warmer.
Sun's doing
Do you know
that.
why? Because the northern lights
cycles have changed
the
too.
northern lights, they've never been to the south of England before.
Yeah.
Never. And suddenly it's coming all the way down the south.
That's an interesting point. That's a long way south, isn't it? And it's multiple times. I've never thought about that.
Yeah, they're not telling us the truth. They say, we've got the northern lights down south of England. Isn't that challenging?
Yeah, and the best...
Go tonight and see it. They don't say, well, hang on a minute. No, that's never happened before. What's going on?
Yeah, they're coming down 500 miles south of what they should be, aren't they?
So, like, I think personally, Elon Musk, he's a smart guy. And he's like us, he questions things and he comes up with answers that the news ain't telling us about.
But you put those two minds, Trump and Musk, together, they're going to fall out. I feel they're going to fall out big time in time. But what's going to happen to the NASA budgets? It always used to go to Boeing before.
Yeah, it's going to go
now
to
it's going to go to SpaceX, isn't it? Because and not only is SpaceX talking about going to Mars, that's the big goal, but it's also talking about maybe being able to mine rare earth metals on the moon.
Yeah.
Because, did you see that? You know, I'm really into this idea of 0-point energy, and
Yeah.
there's an energy
Yeah.
source that we're going to have that's going to transform the world.
Yeah.
And I was
coming
reading
soon.
today
Yeah.
that they made something out of rare earth metals that is not, it's on the goal to being able to get this eternal energy sort of thing, but it's rare earth metals, right? And where do we get those? China's got a load of them, and where else has got it? Greenland's got a load of this stuff.
Oh, yeah,
and there's
yeah.
not many other places in the world you can mine this stuff,
Yeah.
and you're going to need a lot of this.
Yeah.
So that's what all the Greenland business is.
Here's another
and
one,
Musk must understand about
Yeah.
that too, because it will have to drive the electric vehicle.
Yeah. Have you heard what they have been saying this next whistleblower is coming up with?
Which one?
There's one coming up now. Trump is going to release information a day after his inauguration.
UFO stuff.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
this time, though, there's a fella who's worked on back engineering captured alien
Well, that's
spacecraft.
always been a big thing. That's all the Area 51
Yeah,
stuff, isn't it?
yeah, but that was all conspiracy theory in the
And
past.
now it's
but
mainstream.
It's mainstream now.
Yeah. Social media, you know,
Yeah, well-
he's deluded. He's president of the United States.
Yeah.
Deluded.
Well, they for a long time they were saying like UFOs, right? They were conspiracy theories, and anyone that spoke about UFOs is like nuts. And now they've been having a big spate of UFO sightings over New Jersey. You heard about that?
No, not heard about those ones.
And so like,
But they're all over. They're all over everywhere.
if they
Look at all those drones.
yeah, if they're gonna back engineer a captured spacecraft, which is what's going to be spoken about shortly. I mean, presidential level. And if they back engineered that, like they said, since the 1950s, then that energy that comes from those things maybe one day is pretty soon.
Maybe
I hope.
we've only got the technology
Elon
now
Musk
to understand it now.
Yeah, I
you
think
know. I mean, artificial intelligence is going to change absolutely everything in the world.
Yeah, you heard about AI, yeah, and that it's going to take over, and
Well, there is a
something-
danger of that.
Aye,
I mean,
but
look at the Facebook and the rest
Aye,
of it.
but
No moral standards whatsoever.
what we are doing there, we're making a mistake of projecting human persona onto AI, and a human persona, it has its instincts
Yeah.
for survival. Most things that people do is about greed. Why is there greed? Because you want to be wealthy. Why do you want to be wealthy? Because you're going to die if you're not. Or you want to have more than enough. It's a survival instinct. All of those things that they're trying to say that going to make AI dangerous is actually coming from human instincts. AI doesn't have an instinct because it hasn't got a body to protect. Or can you put that into it?
No, or is it a new form of consciousness
Yeah.
completely?
Fear-based, isn't it? That's what I'm saying.
It's, at the moment, it's not conscious in the same way we are,
Aye, but
but everything's conscious anyway.
yeah, but
Everything's conscious.
I mean,
All
human
things
beings
are.
until
So
we
why
die.
not AI?
Yeah, we die and we're trying to protect our lives, yeah? And all of the bad things we do is connected with protecting your health and your wealth or whatever, or trying to get better. That is about fear of death.
Oh yeah,
AI
you're saying
doesn't have
AI
that.
doesn't have the survival instinct, does
That's
it?
what I mean.
Doesn't need to.
Whoops.
Okay, let's get off this path for a minute.
I think we ought to go down there, guys. Go back.
get down
Where?
Away
Scramble
down.
down that cliff.
Yeah.
That's what was the only bad news.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
But,
Let's get the mud off the boot so I don't slip.
let's get this on cam.
Try and fall if you can. This is good. You'll get a lot of subscribers. Bend your legs a bit more, Craig.
Yeah.
Bend your knees, I mean.
Is that better, that path?
I'm going to say yes, whether it is or it isn't, because I don't want to come up again.
Okay then. Oh, you better come back up here, Craig. We'll go back this way.
I don't think this is as good as that part. I'll come back up. Right.
So,
Bend your
so
front
we're
leg.
stuck. We followed this cow's track, and we're in a bit of a bad situation. Look at him. He's like an old man, isn't he?
Shut up.
You wouldn't think he was a yoga expert, would you?
What about that? Is that something?
No, it only goes down there behind. Go our way up there.
Let's just head back.
Yeah, just go away with it.
Phil's getting a bit past it for this sort of thing, really.
That's my bad, isn't it?
Walking with old man. I'm just doing it smart way. Oh! My foot was stuck behind the root.
Yeah.
And the energy transforms you, doesn't it? I mean, it really does.
Yeah.
Look,
And,
that's where we should have gone. There's people walking up there without any trouble.
Is it? Well, I might bring a couple in the pub. What do you want to do? Get your...
Look, there's a path here up the mountain.
Yeah, well,
We took the wrong one.
I said take that one, didn't I?
That's
I said
the
take that
Welsh in
one.
us, Phil.
I said take that one.
It's the Welsh.
it was
We
me.
scented the trail of the sheep. That's what it was.
That
Yeah.
was cows, mate.
We
not
both got a
sheep.
bit too excited there.
That was
Yeah.
cows, not sheep, mate.
Ah.
Where are we going?
This way.
Yeah, we'll go back there then.
Unless you want to go up there.
I don't mind.
Yeah?
Okay.
Do you want to go up there, Bianca?
I go where you go.
Okay.
Let's go.
There's somebody
There's a
up
path
there.
up there, wasn't there?
Yeah, someone up there, look,
Or
Bianca.
do we just scramble up there?
Yeah, we get to the top of this.
I reckon the human capable of living at least 200 years,
Well, I
with
think,
modern medicine included,
I think
and with the right mental attitude, the
Yeah.
right yogic attitude,
but if you
you
get
could live
past
200-300 years, I reckon.
but if you get past those barriers that you get into, say, 200-300 years old, right? Barriers, yeah?
Yeah.
Like psychology, body, joints, organs, then if you can get that long, you can get even further.
I don't see why not. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, artificial intelligence will live forever, won't it? Yeah. It's like digital things will live forever.
Yeah.
So there's eternal life in that.
Yeah.
But I don't see why we couldn't extend human life far, far more than we can. And I'm not just talking about medicine. I think it's all done with the prana. The real yoga. Look at people like Babaji, supposed to live 2,000 years. I can get into that. If it's all a dream, then anything's possible, isn't it? If it's all samsara, it's all a dream, you really go with that, and absolutely everything is possible.
Like AI, right? It's a bit funny because it's like, sorry, I'm stopping you now.
No more.
And I know you can't hear me as well, see, so it might come over a bit strange with it.
No, it all picks up.
So,
Yeah.
like, what I find strange is that people are frightened that AI will have consciousness, but it's like, what is consciousness like? Nobody knows. They say, oh yeah, it's conscious because it can think. But then human beings on a higher spiritual levels, they say consciousness is higher than thought.
Yeah. And when you start to think about what consciousness is, does it have quantity? Like, I'm conscious, an ant is conscious,
Yeah.
but is an ant as conscious as I am, or does consciousness have a quantity in that I have a quantity of consciousness? And what we think of consciousness is a sentience, self-awareness, is a quantity of consciousness. It's self-awareness consciousness in that sense, but then consciousness is also the all and the everything.
Yeah.
It's in all things.
Yeah.
A single atom is conscious of being an atom.
Aye.
The universe is conscious of being the universe.
Here's the one though, the question's that, is what does a Buddha or what they call the Indian guys?
Sadhu, perhaps?
A sadhu becomes
or Siddha
enlightened,
yogi,
yeah? What's their aim? To become no mind. Then they become super conscious.
Yeah.
No
Actually,
mind, but so that means if an ant don't have a mind, it don't mean that it's...
And I think no mind's a bit of a mistaken
Yeah.
way of describing it. I know what you mean, because it's like
Because
beyond
it's-
thought, beyond it's that is
mind.
beyond mind.
The mind, right, it's like they say a container, right, and it contains thoughts.
Yeah.
the thoughts-
And mind's only a functional thing,
Yeah.
like the body is.
Self-awareness is when the thoughts are all gone and it's aware that it's
Yeah.
a container. And then enlightenment comes when the container has been dissolved and you become
Yeah.
a universal consciousness.
It's when you realise you're already that.
So you put that in context with that question.
In what respect? Sorry.
I don't know, I lost track of it.
Lost track as well. Whether AI could do that, I don't know.
Yeah, AI,
But it's like a
yeah.
concentration of consciousness. So if AI becomes self-aware, and surely it's
can,
self-aware
can it?
because it acts like a self-aware. It mimics human consciousness at the moment.
Well, I know about that.
I might be the only conscious thing in the universe. You might be something mimicking consciousness. You might be AI.
Did you ever check out, I told you a while back, I bet you never done this, so did you ever check out the Humphrey experiment and the Philip experiment?
Yeah. I looked at the Philip experiment.
So what happened?
That's where consciousness became self-empowered, as it were. They projected
And how-
consciousness and
yeah.
it moves things. For
Tell them
example.
about it, Craig. That's a really interesting. I really find this fascinating.
If I
And
remember about the Philip experiment.
It's actually giving life to something that was never there.
It was a
And
group.
that is
It was a
people.
group of people. I think they were in Canada, and a group of skeptics decided to invent a spirit and pretend that spirit was there. They gave him a character. They said this character Philip. They said he fell in love. He jumped off the battlements of a castle, and he did all these various things. They made quite an elaborate history for him, and they started pretending to contact him all the time, until Philip actually became like the Tibetans have a tulpa. That is
tulpa,
an independent piece of consciousness. They fed it so much consciousness that Philip became conscious. But then that spirit that they invented started appearing and coming through various mediums, I believe,
Aye.
and in particular started coming through some group that were doing table tilting. It was the table would move around. We used to do it at the circle.
Yeah.
It would move around and bounce out the name
That
of
was
somebody.
hectic, yeah.
But then they take their hands off, and the table would independently move around without anybody touching it,
Aye.
tapping out messages from Philip,
Yeah.
who was a fake spirit.
Yeah.
So the spirit something had happened that they'd
Give it life.
projected and created an independent conscious being. And like you say, actually, when you think about it in AI terms,
Yeah.
if we project that into AI,
Yeah.
if
It
we
becomes
project
conscious.
our
Then becomes
consciousness
conscious,
into
yeah.
AI,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it could become conscious
Yes.
because it's taken its consciousness from us. Just as I think pets, for example,
Yeah.
Boo, for example, is more conscious of being an animal and being a self and a sentient being than maybe the cows down there that have not been tended to and not come in contact with human consciousness. It rubs off. Consciousness rubs off. So what if it was to rub off on AI?
And the
Thoughts?
robots we are creating.
Could be
Well,
incredible.
yeah. You've done some fantastic.
What is consciousness?
yeah.
Does it have quantity? Like I said, does an ant have more consciousness than me? And does my consciousness, when I've got it, sort of rub off on people? I know
Yeah,
your
it does.
personality will.
Looks psychometry.
Yeah,
It rubs
psychometry.
off.
Yeah, rubs off, doesn't
That's
it?
the
Yeah,
same
we're talking
thing.
about
And
it.
as you guys come together, you rub off on each other.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And when we talk,
Consciousness,
No,
not
we're not
physical, not physical.
You might be gay, but I'm not gay.
but
I'm not gay.
when we when we talk,
I'm not.
you're going to be spreading bad rumours here. when we rub off. I don't want to use that word.
Hang on, I'm getting a bit further
Raises
away
each
from
other's
it.
consciousness. When we talk these things, in this side,
Keep your distance.
and anybody who watches this channel, their consciousness, I'm going to stop this.
And for those who
Let's get back
think
to
we,
camel toe yoga.
and for those who think we are against gay people,
No.
all our daughters except one are gay. We have lots of daughter-in-laws.
Yeah, but I think the other one is thinking about it though. I think she is. He doesn't want to accept it, but I think she's thought about it.
Oh,
They all
gosh.
do
I'm
now.
not going to say it.
They're told that at school.
Yeah, okay. Did you want to finish something?
No, I'm done.
Okay,
yeah,
he's
that was
done.
quite an interesting chat, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Oh, that was fun, Phil, wasn't it?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
had some
I-
fun, didn't we, mate? It's like the old days, isn't it?
Yeah.
Remember?
I mean, come for a walk and a chat. It's a fantastic thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah. There's
love
the pub
it.
down there we were in, isn't it?
That was a nice pub, actually. I'll
Yeah.
bring Jane there.
Do us
Oh,
like
this
this.
is lovely.
Yeah.
The Neon Valley, or the Neon Valley.
Yeah.
Beautiful place,
It is.
isn't it?
Yeah.
And even with the mist, it's beautiful.
I prefer walking when it's cold like this, don't you?
Yeah,
too.
yeah. It's
You
more
know, I
energy.
mean, do you remember that one where we were on the hills like this and we came across and the snow came over the hillside and rolled in over us and rolled over our heads? That
Aye.
Wasn't that
Freezing
amazing?
as well.
I mean, we say it's a walk. We haven't even walked quarter of a mile.
That's the pub we were just in, had a coffee. So we haven't made any distance really.
That's what
The
happens.
pub is still inside.
Yeah, we haven't done anything, have we? I mean,
No.
we walked.
There's the pub.
But it's fun. We said it was only be a little walk.
It looks like you're getting closer instead of further away. Yeah. Don't point.
In fact,
How old is he?
I think he's 14.
No, he's not.
But when I was 16, that I thought I knew it all. And do you know what? I did. Everything else has been unlearning this.
I tell you something powerful now, right? Come listen, everyone, in a circle. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
Don't do
here.
both camels,
This is
sorry.
very powerful, this is, right? You just made me think about it. And you know, one of the secret teachings, I'm not supposed to tell people about this, yeah? But you know, Jesus spoke about becoming as a child. He grabbed hold of a kid when somebody asked him, how do I enter the kingdom of heaven, yeah?
Only if you become
Not that I'm a Christian.
like a child.
Yeah, he said, become like a child. Do you know what they tell you to do? You know those deities, and they have it in Indian philosophy, Hindi or whatever. They have these deities, you know, like children. Children are Superman, Wonder Woman, Iron Man, yeah?
Yeah.
And the child, it takes on all the characteristics of Superman or Wonder Woman. Do you know what they do? They, the spiritual practice, if you want to listen to this, they pick a deity that has certain qualities. Like, for instance, one I learned, the name is Taka something. No, Yamantaka.
Okay.
Yamantaka.
That
And
sounds
this,
Buddhist.
yeah, this deity, right, it has the qualities of destroying death and compassion and all these qualities. So you imagine that you're a destroyer of death and all these things like a kid.
Yeah.
And you build it up every day. You say, I can do this, I'm that, I'm wonderful, like a kid.
Yeah.
And they eventually, your mindset, instead of going into old age and you convince yourself you can't do this, you can't do that, all your illnesses start falling away.
Yeah, I think there's a lot
And then
to
he
it. That's
become-
why he did understand that, I think.
You become this deity, like Yamantaka.
Or like Shiva.
Conqueror
Shiva's
of
the
death.
the destroyer of the old.
Yeah,
You know,
so-
you think you destroy all the old cells in your body and the new ones
Yeah,
come,
but
don't
Jesus, right, this is interesting too. The Catholics, they're actually following the same religion as the Buddhists. You listen to
they?
this,
Oh,
right?
yeah, this is Jesus.
Jesus,
This is
right,
from India.
he died, he put himself on a cross, he sacrificed himself, right? I'm your food, right? And so you eat his flesh, you drink his blood. Then when you do that, you become Jesus.
Same thing.
Yamantaka.
Yeah.
So
same
I
idea,
become
concept.
an enlightened soul, I can heal people. Okay, let's say it's weak to start with, but if you keep convincing yourself of that, eventually the energy builds up, like what we were talking about earlier with the Philip experiment, where you invent this spirit, you keep thinking it's there, and suddenly it takes on all those characteristics.
It's all about energy and energy transference,
so if you
and
keep-
dealing with our own personal energy too, isn't it?
So if you
ultimately?
keep giving it that belief yourself, the spirit, the energy inside yourself, like a kid, then because we make the mistake of children, I'm Superman today, man.
And they become it.
You say, don't be so soft now. You're past that. Don't grow up now. It's time to grow up. You're not Superman. You're telling me Superman. Let him carry on with it
As you
until-
think, so you become.
Yeah.
And as you think, also your energy becomes.
May I add something?
Yeah.
I think I published a book about that.
Published a book. So.
That's right. Which one?
We had that group who were nearly going to beat us up, and then we had that arrogant man. We've got there's someone to cut the fence, isn't there? We went through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, you had some farmers.
And then you said to him, Phil said, oh, was it you or me? Or one of us said, I think a group hug might come in handy. We should let's have a group hug. And the guy was sort of like, get off my land. Group hug. I do what Jane always says. Bring the car up.
Hey, mates. People are walking there. There must be an easier path on there.
Well, yes,
we
there are
find out,
people
we go
walking
back.
up there.
Yeah.
Let's just go straight up.
There we
Easy.
go.
You don't want to go down there. Yeah.
See? Women. Did it again, yeah.
Aye, that was nice.
There was a great video I saw on YouTube. Someone doing accidentally doing a video, and he had the camera around the wrong way like this, and he's filming everything. And look at that beautiful scenery there. Oh, that he's talking about.
Yeah.
And it's just of him.
Yeah, I saw that one.
And even if they go to two places in the same day,
Wow.
it's always the birthday.
Hello there. Hello.
Hello, you come to say hello? Yeah, you're gorgeous.
Lovely, isn't it, dogs? Yeah.
He's alright, yeah.
Yeah. How old is he?
He's coming up 6.
Gorgeous.
He's in good condition.
You're gorgeous.
Aye.
Dogs don't like me.
No.
They always go for me. Or maybe,
I wonder why.
well, but then Just Jane says monkeys don't like you either.
What was that dog again?
That was a bulldog, he said.
No, Jane's dog.
Oh, William.
William.
Oh my God, William.
Tell us the story.
He was my nemesis, he was, William. He was around before, of course, before I met Jane, so it was his territory, fair dues, I suppose. But people used to say, oh, you're so good with him. Look at the way you let him pee all over your leg and you don't even say anything. What bloody thing? He used to look me in the eye and poop in the middle of the room.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we had a dog like that once.
God, and Bennett, he was dodgy. Elon Musk had one like that.
Did he?
Well, he said he had an untrained dachshund. Well, William was half dachshund and half what's it called? Oh, what's the other one? Dachshund and something else. Runt of the runt, I used to call him. Vulgaris Maximus. Stroll, weren't we?
Go and get the car brake.
Yeah. Seriously, that's what Jane would have me do. And somehow I'd have to get the car up here, even if it involved winches.
Anyway, you're going to get a car up here, hang glide.
You and me could get it up here, Phil.
That was like a ballerina. I'm glad I filmed that. Did you see that?
No, I only got up. I began to get up and tried to break the fight up, and then I got pulled into the fight. And then the next thing I know, we were bowled out the doors, and I managed to stand up, and I started getting angry and started punching back. And when I started punching,
Well, you're a professional boxer.
yeah, I was training professional boxing, yeah, and like I hurt the barman, I hurt somebody else, and then I got taken to court for something that I tried to stop happening in the first place, and I got done for that.
But look how colourful you are now.
Yeah, I know,
And you
were
understand other people. You don't judge people because you know what you are capable.
People, really.
The problem
You know.
with non-conformists is that they're not fearful of the consequences of what they can be doing.
Yeah.
And that's a prime conformist, and that meant that I wasn't scared to break the law.
Yeah.
And I could have got in. I could have hurt people.
Yeah.
I could have got in big trouble.
And simultaneously,
Woke?
woke. Oh, don't get me started on that.
Do you know? Can somebody explain to me what that is? Woke? I'm sure lots of people don't know
I
what
don't
it
think
is.
anybody really fully knows what we mean by it.
It's about you're not supposed to say certain things about gay people. You're not supposed to say certain things about transgender people. You're not supposed to say things about Welsh people.
Well, you are. Everybody's allowed to say
Yeah,
something about
and
Welsh.
that's and you're not supposed to say things about political.
You're not allowed to have an opinion.
So
that-
you're not
might-
ventilate
you're not
an
allowed to say anything that
opinion.
might offend somebody. So
Yeah.
if I say the world is,
gagged.
yeah, so I say something, anything, oh, that offends me. But the fact is, the fact that you're offended makes
Yeah.
no difference whatsoever. In fact, good you've been offended, frankly,
yeah.
because the penny's dropped. But no, you're not allowed to say. And it's infiltrated the schools.
And
it's come
democracy.
from LA mainly, from the schools in California.
And democracy.
And if somebody is offended, that is their mindset, isn't it?
Yeah.
Because you don't say certain things to hurt anybody.
No, who cares if they're offended? I don't care if someone offends me. I mean, look at the things people say to us when we're a psychic.
Yeah.
Look at the comedians that have had a go at us on TV. You know?
What was that Mark Bolan mouth about?
Oh yeah.
What's that?
Did I ever tell
You just
that
did it
story, right?
again. You just
Right.
did it.
Oh, like anyway, I tell you right, and like Mark Bolan. Do you remember when he came out in the 1970s?
Oh, I
Or
like
you
Mark
wouldn't have-
Bolan, he was
and,
alright. Yeah, I know, you had your hair like him then.
Yeah,
didn't you?
yeah. And I used to like watch him, and I remember seeing him do this once, and he was doing this with his lip. Like that, and I go, wow, that's great. And then I went into school.
You mimicked it, you mimicked it.
We had this new
Here
school
we go.
teacher, school
Yeah.
mistress. She's only young, like, you know. And then she was standing out there writing on the board. And then she turns around and she looks at me, and then I go like this to her. And then her face flushes up like that. I mean, I'm colourblind, right? But her face flushed. I didn't even know what it meant, but now I know what it means.
Was you sent out?
No, she just flushed.
No, she
Ah.
gave her, she gave you her telephone number. Thanks for joining us all. Phil and Bianca, we'll see them again soon, I hope.
All right, my pleasure.
Loved it.
And just let's say goodbye to Phil too as well. There we go.
Thank you, Phil.
See you later, Phil.